Season 3 of Happy and Healthy. What is up, you guys? Oh my gosh, it feels good to be back. And does not that intro song just get you so freaking hype? The new song gets me lit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I spent forever trying to find that song, and I hope you guys like it. But you guys, oh my gosh. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Happy and Healthy. If this is your first time listening to my podcast, my name is Janine Amapola. I wish I had that sound effect on my thingy. Do I? No, I doubt it. I do have some other ones though. Sometimes we bring these in occasionally. However, if this is your first time listening to my podcast, my name is Janine. I post these every single Tuesday here on Spotify, Podcast with Apple, YouTube, and we also do TikTok and Instagram as well. So make sure you guys are following all of those, because from here on out, I will be asking you guys questions on the Happy and Healthy Instagram, and I will be answering them at the end of the podcast. Wow. If you don't know what this podcast is about, we are here to help you be happy and healthy and thrive in all aspects of life. Why did I say that weird? All aspects of life, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And I'm a 27-year-old girl. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I'm living back here, and I just love to help you guys. I love giving advice. I love just seeing people thrive, and I have such a heart for just women and girls, and I just want them to be so dang confident and know their identity in the Lord and just feel the best version of themselves. And that is what this podcast is about. So hope you will stick around, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you are enjoying this podcast. And I cannot wait to just dive into today's episode, because if you didn't know, if you're not an avid Happy and Healthy listener, I used to post these every single Tuesday, and I took a 2-month break. Hence why you haven't seen an episode come out from me for a while. So took a 2-month break starting December 1st, and now it is February 1st, and we are freaking back and better than ever, y'all. I'm feeling dang good. If you're not watching the YouTube video, then you definitely should, because you can hang out with me on YouTube as well if you guys want. So go subscribe. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see me holding up my beloved Celsius, and I'm about to do an ASMR clip for y'all, and we're about to crack one of these babies open. Now, do I need this? No, because I'm literally talking 1,000 miles per hour. However, do I want it? Yes, I do. So we're going to have an ASMR moment. I'm going to turn the microphone up, and we're going to open up this can together. I love this so much. Wait, y'all. Oh, my phone just dropped. Wait, come on, can. Yo, that was so satisfying. I'm sorry. Is anyone like a crazy psycho like me and loves the sound of a can opening? I just do. But let me get my phone, because I kind of need it for notes. So BRB. Okay, y'all, let's freaking dive into this. I have so much to update you guys on. So many things I want to just talk about. I want to update you guys on the last, 2 months of my life, what's been going on. I want to hear how y'all are doing. So first of all, obviously we have a new intro song, which I'm really excited about. I searched high and low for the perfect song that got me amped up, got you amped up, and I think that was the one. So I hope you guys like that. I also wanted to, of course, give a shout out to my Patreons. There are so many amazing people that donate to this podcast monthly, which still blows my mind. Like, I literally am like, what? You donate money to me? Your money? What? So thank you so much to my Patreons. I'm not ever pushing to donate. If you ever want to, you're not required to. This podcast is free to listen. There is a link if you want to. But I'm seriously like, you literally do not have to. Like, you are so welcome here if you don't want to even donate a penny. I just love your listens and just hanging out with me. So, but I do want to say thank you to my patrons that do donate monthly. That means the world to me. Thank you for sowing a seed into this podcast. By you guys doing that, I'm able to invest more into it. Like, I'm working on trying to get some merch for y'all. I know it's in the working, so stay tuned. That is something that during the last 2 months, I have been really working hard to get the perfect merch for you guys. So I'll have a release date for that soon. I cannot wait to see you guys rock the Happy and Healthy merch. So excited for that. Also, I would love to get a studio eventually. I'm trying to figure out where that will be, when that will be. But again, that helps me be able to do that and to bring guests in and just produce higher quality content. So dreaming and praying and hoping for that. But anyways, y'all, I have missed you. It has felt so weird just not uploading and not seeing you guys like repost. Like some of y'all are still have been reposting the old ones, but I've just missed hanging out and just chatting and talking about what's been going on with life. There has been so much going on, honestly. You know, I took a break right before Christmas, and Christmas was amazing. I know it feels probably weird to kind of jump all the way back to that. If you watched my YouTube channel, you saw what I did. I went to Montana with my family. We got this amazing house in Montana and Big Sky. It was with this deal that I did with Verbo, which was just so amazing. I'm so thankful for that. Went there with my family for Christmas, got to go snowboarding twice. That's something that also I'm so excited about, and I'll talk about this also. I went to Lake Tahoe in January with a lot of my old California friends and just like such amazing godly people. But snowboarding is something that I realized during this most recent winter break that I'm just obsessed with. Like I want to absolutely just master it. And I finally feel like on this most recent Lake Tahoe trip, I got it down. So that was like a win for me, to be honest. So if you've never been snowboarding, just know it does take some time. It kind of stinks to learn it because like literally y'all, this most recent time in Lake Tahoe, wiped the frick out on my tailbone. Like it was painful. My friend Caden saw me just wipe the freaking crap out and he was like, your face was just like, oh, and then he was like, oh, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It really freaking hurt. I'm not going to lie. So it honestly still hurts. It's prevented me from doing like full on workouts. But that's okay. We will rebuild. We will progress. But that was something that was really, really fun. And so if you guys also still follow my Instagram, or if you're keeping up to date with that, you obviously saw that I posted that I took a 2-week social media break. And so I will have a whole YouTube video up on my channel, Janina Mapola, obviously, with all my thoughts on that. Please go watch that because honestly, you guys, I think you're going to find it beneficial for yourself. It was the best thing that I did for myself. I thought it was going to be so hard, but man, the intimacy with the Lord, the vision, the clarity, the dreaming, I mean, also the spiritual warfare, so many things happened during that fast. And by the time this podcast is up, that video will already be up. So go check that out. It's on my YouTube channel. And I'll have all my thoughts of like the good and the bad and like 5 things that I learned from the social media break. And I think you guys are really going to benefit from it and just kind of get to hear more of my thoughts. But it was just the craziest 2 weeks. Like I just feel like I grew so much and got so much clarity. And like my time with the Lord was just so good. And so overall, I'm going to recommend anyone and everyone to do that. I felt like when I started January, I was obviously like everyone gets super hopeful. They're like, oh my gosh, like the new year, so excited for it. Like I was feeling hopeful. I was like setting all the dreams and the goals and all the things. And I honestly realized I was drowning. Like I was drowning. I am currently in the process of hiring a new assistant. I'm having to hire a new editor because my current editor for YouTube is going to dental school. So I had to go through like all these applications and that has just taken me so long. I feel like I was drowning with that. I felt like I started the year being like, I have all of these dreams and goals and hopes, but I'm absolutely drowning. And so what did I do? I reached out to a life coach and his name is Alan Briggs. I've talked about him before. You can actually reach out to him as well. His company is called Stay Forth Designs. And he was the one that really pushed me to kind of like, you need to take a step back and really refigure out some stuff. He's like, you are so overwhelmed. You're so confused. You don't know what you're doing. He's like, you need to just really restructure some things. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And so by that conversation with him, I really just took a step back and was like, okay, what am I doing? And so this last month was honestly all of that. I mean, there was some travel in the beginning. I did Passion in the beginning of the month, which was literally amazing. And then I also did Lake Tahoe at the beginning of the month. So those were the 2 trips. And did I do anything else? Oh, and then I went to LA. I was just kind of like, having fun. And then when it came down to not having fun of like, okay, I have a business I need to run. I need to take this serious. What do I need to do? I like looked at all the things I wanted to do in my calendar and like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm overwhelmed. I am so overwhelmed. And so honestly, taking the fast was so amazing for me because I really got to restructure, redream, plan all these things. Like I made this whole like branding deck of like my pillars and my values and like, what do I believe and what do I stand for? Like my mission statement, who am I trying to reach? My audience, my demographic, type of content that I want to make. And so y'all will probably start seeing some of those changes like reflect on my Instagram and my YouTube and probably here too. I feel like my podcast is the one thing that I feel really, really good about. But of course, there's always room for growth. But YouTube and Instagram were the two platforms that I was really like, what the frick am I doing? Like, I have been in this dang hamster wheel for so long that I have like lost my direction. And I'm sure that was maybe noticeable. However, I do get really sweet messages of people saying, you've helped me here and you helped me there. And like, that's always my goal. But for me, if I don't feel like I'm either growing or producing results, then I'm like, okay, what am I doing? So that was like literally what I did this past 2 weeks, was just auditing and invoicing and reflecting and seeking clarity. And I just really recommend you guys to do that. Like, take a step back and look at everything you're doing, your business or your socials or your performance or your bank account or whatever, and be like, okay, what am I doing? Because sometimes I think we're so scared to audit because it will obviously reflect either poor leadership on our behalf or poor behaviors, poor habits, and we're scared of that. And I know for me, that was kind of scary, but it was like the whole back to the thing of like, you can't heal what you won't reveal. Like, I preach that all the time about like trauma and past hurts and blah, blah, blah. But it also definitely stems into your business, into your finances, into your dreams, into your goals. Like, if you're not going to reveal the issues and where there's perhaps something that's not working or the analytics that are failing or the like whatever, if your bank account, you're in debt, you need to take a step back and be like, what is it that I'm doing? I need to look and seek some help. And so that's what I did. I sought some help out, and I'm really, really glad I did. And I'm going to have another call with Alan soon. He's, again, like a life coach, and he was amazing. And so planning on chatting with him again soon, because I was like, I need some help. And so it's important, again, I've always mentioned this, to know what help do I need and how much help do I need, and just knowing, being self-aware to say, okay, I need help, and then reaching out to the best person you know to do that for you. Honestly, I'm feeling so dang good. Like, entering into February, I feel like, okay, wow, like I can kind of breathe, because I learned this new app. It's called ClickUp. This is not sponsored. I like literally just went on like YouTube and was just researching all this stuff. And this girl taught me about this app called ClickUp. And so since I'm going to be having like a team and I have people that help me and it's so amazing, I was like, I need to be more organized. And that was something that I really, really struggled with, was an organized schedule, organized calendar. I've always been very like spontaneous or very much just like on the whim. And it's an issue. It definitely is an issue. If you've ever taken the personalities test, 16 personalities, I'm the entertainer. So the entertainer, which I wonder if I could just read that really quickly. Hold on, let me just read a little thingy so you guys can maybe understand me as well. And I think it actually would be kind of interesting to see what y'all's are if you do this as well. So let me find this. Okay, entertainer is a person with the extroverted, observant feeling and prospective personality traits. These people love vibrant experiences, absolutely. Engaging in life eagerly, absolutely. Taking pleasure in discovering the unknown, for sure. They can be very social and often encouraging others into shared activities. So that's kind of like me, but basically what it talks about is like, some of my strengths are being bold, original, aesthetic, practical, observant, excellent people skills. However, my weaknesses can be conflict averse, which I am, sensitive, which maybe I am. I might be a little bit sensitive sometimes to like a hate comment eventually. Easily bored, yes, which kind of stinks. Poor long-term planners and unfocused. That is literally me to a T. And once I identified that, I was like, okay, what am I going to do about that? Who am I going to seek out help from? So I definitely recommend you guys to take that test. It's called 16 Personalities. It really did help me understand more of myself. And so I was like, okay, I am a poor planner. What am I going to do about it? So I ended up downloading and learning this interface called ClickUp. And it is like this amazing tool of like organizing your whole team, all your stuff. So I have my podcast on there, my YouTube, my Instagram, all the brand deals coming up, like all the guests coming up on my podcast. Like I have my podcast coordinator on there, and like we were able to sync up, and it is just like been the best thing. And I just feel like I'm just so refreshed and motivated, and there's so much clarity. And so again, I just recommend you guys take a step back and really audit what was this last year for me. Like, don't just fly into this next year not auditing the last and talking about the good and the bad and figuring out what needs to be done and changed and fixed. And also, like, what did you enjoy, So I think that's just really, really important to do. But another thing that I got to do too over this last month, and honestly, it mainly was this week, is I went on a crazy Amazon shopping spree / house de-junking, clean out, purge. That was a long way of describing it. So basically, to sum that up, there was one day that I woke up and I don't know why this happened. I literally just woke up and I looked at everything and I was like, everything needs to freaking go. It was literally like 9 in the morning and I'm in my bathroom like throwing freaking crap out. Makeup is flying, old products. I'm like, everything needs to go. And like Maddie woke up and was like, what are you doing? Like I had like boxes everywhere, like bottles, just trash. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, Maddie, everything needs to go. Everything's a mess. I'm sick of it. And so I just like majorly just dejunked, wiped the house clean, like got rid of old clothing and shoes and products and like donated a ton. I'm going to bring like a huge basket of products to this women's shelter, all this good clothing for them and stuff. And so it was so good. Like I literally think that's another thing you should do is take a day, take a weekend and just purge, de-junk everything. And I feel so much better. But then also as I was purging, I was realizing, oh, there's some things I want to add. So I will be doing some IG Reels as well as a YouTube video on like a ton of amazing Amazon products you guys need to get. Like I went a little crazy and got a ton, and I think you guys are gonna like them. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube and follow my Instagram to see these products because there's some goodies from home decor to beauty, clothing. There's a lot more. There's some really good stuff in there that I was like, Amazon, you get me every dang time. But I went psycho and I started like just buying all this stuff and I'm like looking at some of it now and it just makes my place so much cuter. Like for example, if you're watching the YouTube video, I got this cute little like I think it's called gardenias little decor in my flower pot. It's cute. So big fan of that. Anyway, so it was really nice. I just got to like refresh my home. Maddie and I took down Christmas decor on January 24th, which was obviously a lot later than we wanted, but we both had been traveling so much that we were like, okay, we need to finally pick a date. And we just knocked it all out in an hour. And again, I like walk into my home and I'm like, it's like clean, it's refreshed, it's organized again. And I just literally anything that I thought was like, this doesn't serve me, I don't like it, I never use it, I hated it from the beginning, why is it still here, just tossed. And finally got to buy like some things that I needed to get done for my house. Like I finally got to get some like hardware for my cabinets and new light fixtures and like so many random things that I need to get. I had time and space to do that. And so again, social media break this month, all of it just was so good for me to just kind of like get rid of everything. I don't know. I feel like I have a really good mindset right now and I've just been so excited just about life and like all the things that are going to come in 2022. One thing again that I was pretty bummed about though, like I mentioned this before, is that my best friend Sarah Penny, she was supposed to get married and we were supposed to get married in, no, not me. She was supposed to get married in South Africa because she's from Zimbabwe. And we were supposed to go there January 22nd for the wedding, or actually, sorry, January 15th for the wedding. And obviously the new COVID strand messed that up, which I know that's, you know, it's like, the world does not revolve around me. It's not the end of the world. Like it really isn't. We're probably going to have to reschedule the trip, but it was a little bit of a bummer because we had literally planned that trip out for a year and had to completely just cancel everything. So that was kind of a bummer of something that I was really excited for. But then instead, the positive is that on the flip side, I got to instead use those 2 weeks I was going to be in South Africa to do the fast and to clean my house and to get organized. And low key, like I always believe there's like a blessing in some things not happening or things coming into fruition. And so even though it was a bummer, I was like, okay, how can I turn this kind of a bummer situation around for good and use it for good instead of sulking and sitting around. And that's why I did all these things I told you guys about recently, which was so good for me. And I just feel it's been amazing. And so that's been really good. And I will say this last year though, like there was a point where I was feeling just like extremely down. Like this was before I took the social media fast. If I'm just being like bluntly honest, I again was just feeling so confused and lost and lacking clarity for my YouTube and for my Instagram and just feeling like, wait, what am I doing? And there was like one day, like I was totally fully beating myself up, absolutely sulking. I mean, it was bad. I like called somebody and like just started weeping on the phone and it was just kind of a mess. But again, I think that's just natural to have those days where, you know, it's good and it's bad. And so please never like look at me and be like, oh wow, she has it all figured out or all this stuff figured out. Like I promise you I do not. It may appear that way, but I don't. However, something that again I really learned over these last 2 weeks and just over this last month was just habits. I was consuming a ton of podcasts and books. So mainly Craig Rochelle's podcast and a lot of James Clear, who James Clear is the guy that wrote Atomic Habits, and that is a book that I literally tell everyone to read. Like, if you want to build better habits of working out or maintaining a cleaner home or staying organized or working harder or whatever, like that book and the podcast of James Clear with Craig Rochelle were amazing. Like, I listened to so many, I just binged it and I learned so many, and I feel like I've gotten into this routine now of like, okay, well, this past 2 weeks I've been in a really bad routine of working out, but because of my tailbone. But before that, it was like, okay, go to bed 11:30, wake up, put my workout clothing on to make sure I go work out, breakfast, Jesus time, go to the gym, come back, film, knock out content, emails. Like, I felt like I had such a good routine, and I was so proud of myself. Like, I really, really was. I was like, whoa, like, whatever this book talks about actually works. So I really recommend you guys to check that book out or the audiobook or something. And then, like I said, working out wise, like, you know how like everyone has goals and dreams of like working out and having their dream body or whatever. I wanted to be more consistent. I really wanted to work out a little bit more. And then, like I said, I went to Lake Tahoe, which was amazing. I was with a ton of friends. It was so amazing. I hurt my tailbone and literally could not work out. I mean, sleeping hurt, sitting hurt, lying down hurt. I mean, anything. It was ridiculous. So had to take quite a step back from working out. And now I feel like I am healed a lot more to where I can work out again. So I'm planning on trying to implement all the habits and things I learned to be more consistent with working out and actually do a routine. So one of the podcasts you guys will get to hear is from my friend Brianna Allen. I'm sorry, that's her old last name. Brianna Connell, and she does fitness stuff. And her and I did a podcast all together about all the things of how to create a healthy fitness routine. She's an actual like trainer and all those things. And so she can help you guys out. And she was the one that kind of was like, you got to stick to a schedule. Like, you got to have a plan. And I was like, frick, yes, I do. Okay, I'm on it. So that's something I want to start doing a little bit better going forward, is not just going to the gym and just doing kind of whatever, but actually going and following a schedule. Because sometimes I love, going to bar one day, going to a sculpting class one day, then maybe doing, glutes one day and legs, and then back and arms. But she has like a whole system that I think I should probably try to implement. So if you're looking into doing the fitness routine thing and getting a actual like schedule, I think it's good to have a guide or a tool or a trainer or something to really achieve those goals. So that's something I just have more for this year, is just trying to be more consistent with that. And oddly enough, like, I'm actually trying to, as well, this next year, really try to pull back a little bit more from traveling. I think something that I've always loved to do, and I've done this for so long, and I feel very blessed and fortunate that I've gotten to do this, is just really doing the spontaneous trips or getting brand deals or just, being like, hey, I want to travel somewhere next month. Where should I go? And I think that was really fun for a season, but I really want to be more intentional about choosing where I'm going, why I'm going, and does this benefit my goals? Does this reach my goals? How does this mess up the plans? How does this affect employees? And trying to be more intentional about thinking about that type of stuff, because I think in the past, again, poor planner me, entertainer 16 on the 16 personalities, poor planner. I would just book a trip and not really think about the repercussions or how that would affect my work or my schedule or whatever. And now I really want to make sure I have a really good, healthy routine so that I don't just frick that up. You know what I mean? So something that I'm trying to implement this year as well. I would say the next thing is that I'm just really excited for all the guests that are going to be on this podcast. So I've been pre-filming this whole last month with about 6 different guests, and I have about 3 more coming up this next week. And you guys, I think you're going to love them and freak out. I'm so excited. If you follow the Happy and Healthy Instagram, which I really think you should, please do, because the Happy and Healthy Instagram followers, they get a sneak peek before the podcast goes up of who is coming on the podcast. So before each episode, we want to ask you guys the question so you can ask the guests. So for example, if we had whatever, let's just say, who's a random person? I'm looking at my books. Bob Goff. We love Bob Goff. If you were a big Bob Goff fan and you were like, oh, I want to ask Bob Goff a question, you have the chance to feature your question in the podcast by following the Instagram. We'll post those a couple days before the podcast is being filmed, so you guys can enter those and have the chance to have your question featured. So definitely check that out on the Happy and Healthy Instagram. Speaking of questions from you guys, I am going to also be answering some questions that you guys submitted. So let me get that really fast. Okay, so we have a question from Karen, and she said, how do you stop comparing yourself to others? So Maddie and I actually did a whole video about this on my YouTube channel, so you can definitely go check that out for a longer answer. But sometimes I think comparison honestly is a stem, and it's a bigger issue that comes from like a deeper issue, I believe. I believe it does come from identity. If you kind of are having some insecurities, which are all natural, it's part of life. I understand. I have my own insecurities. If there's something that you're lacking, you're going to often go to other people and look at them for how to fix it or how to get it. Or if you're not even aware that you're lacking it, subconsciously, you're looking at another person being like, I don't have that and I want that. And that's why I'm so big on self-improvement and refinement and becoming happy and healthy and working on your identity with the Lord, because I believe if you're not fully secure in who you are and you're not fully secure in who God made you to be, because he doesn't make accidents on you, he didn't mess up on you, then you're going to go to other people or social media, or you're going to start craving that in them, or coming from a place of lack and seeking that out from men, or even just looking at someone and being like, I want that. And you're coveting and you're becoming jealous because you're just not content with yourself. And so it is something that you really need to be conscious of. The Bible is so clear about taking every thought captive and making it obedient and submitting it to Christ. And so if, for example, I look at a girl and I am like, oh my gosh, I want her, I don't know, her bag. She has a designer Louis bag. I want that. Instead, I just change the thought and be like, you know what? I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she can afford and get that Louis bag. And that's amazing. That's really awesome. Maybe one day I can get that too. Instead of being like, are you kidding me? She has a Louis bag and I don't. Because that's what's so rough about women, is that when we are jealous, we tear other women down. And sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it, but that's what we're doing. When you are making someone feel stupid for getting something, but really deep down inside you want it. So you have to take that thought captive and really be like, okay, why am I doing this? And I'm going to be nice and still support her either way. And then try to like reframe that and just like talk more positively to yourself and be like, you know what? If I work hard, I can get that bag too. Hey, if I really wanted it, I can succeed and get that as well. Or, you know, or just being like, oh, she has really nice teeth. You know what? God made my teeth the way they are too. You know, God made me beautiful and perfect the way that he made me, you know? So you just have to like really affirm yourself a ton until you really, really believe it and believe who God says you are and why he created you that way. Because again, he does not make mistakes. Cheers. Brooklyn asked me, how do you stay content in frustrating situations? So literally this past week, I dealt with that. There is a Bible verse that says, for I have learned to be content in all circumstances. I believe that's from Paul. And it's something that is learned. He literally says, for I have learned to be content. It's not, I am content or I will be. It's a process of refinement and learning and die to self and growing. And so there were seasons where I would constantly feel like the grass was going to be greener on the other side, or if I just had that, I would be happier. If I just had those followers or that deal or that money or whatever, maybe then I'll be happy, or that boyfriend, maybe then I'll be happy. But there is something so beautiful about learning to be content. And that looks like shifting your perspective and being thankful for what you do have, for what is going right. And then whatever is not going right, being like, okay, what can I actively do? What small change that is going to make a massive impact down the road can I make now that's going to shift this? And if I'm not content, what can I do about it? That doesn't mean necessarily you have to do something crazy drastic, like move to another city. Now that's something you could do, but I would be very prayerful about that. I would wait. I would seek God in that. I would ask some friends, what do you think about that? If you're really, really not happy, then you can change it. You have the power to change that. But while you're not happy, maybe it's just a mindset shift. Maybe it's a affirmation shift. Maybe it's the way you're talking to yourself. Then maybe it's what you're only focusing on the negative and you're not looking at the positive. Maybe it's also saying, God, I so thank you that, say it's a job. I hate this job. Not me. I'm saying you. Maybe you're saying this. I really hate this job. But you know what, God? Thank you still for giving me this job. Thank you that I still have money. Thank you that I am still able to function my body and go to work. Thank you that there are employees that I'm able to be a light to and be kind to and be bright to them. Thank you, God, that, I'm able to still put food on my table. And then you actively start working until you can maybe change the situation that you don't like, but being content and thankful in the situation while you can. and just constantly being also honest with God. You know, this is something that I think we're allowed to do, is we're allowed to kind of say, hey, God, I'm not very happy right now. What can I do about that? And there's been situations where I've been very unhappy. When I was single, I would constantly be like, God, you know what? I don't totally like being single, but I'm going to choose to still be content. I'm still going to choose to say, God, you have me here for a reason. You're blessing this for a reason. You're using this for a reason, and I'm just going to wait on you. And maybe I'm not the most 100% content. Maybe I'm like 80% content, but I'm still going to choose to see the blessings and the gifts that you do have for this season. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that helps. The last question I'm going to answer is from Gracie, and she says, how do you respond to a friend who doesn't understand why you're waiting for marriage? So again, this is a whole nother podcast that I'm actually planning on doing this year, so stay tuned for that. But this is something that, again, you can possibly send them resources or sermons. There's this incredible one that I listened to from Jonathan Pokluda at the Porch. It's called Love and Lust, and it talks all about lust and pornography and masturbation and sex before marriage. And it's not coming from a judgmental way. It's coming from a very practical, statistical, logical, but godly way. And I definitely recommend you to check that out. But you can just say, hey, I really believe that God has this designed this way for a reason. And for me personally, y'all know my story. If you don't, I didn't wait till marriage. Something I kind of regret, but I do believe God is using it for his glory. And I have been celibate for a very long time. Praise the Lord. So I'm waiting again for marriage. But for me, again, I can always say like, hey, you know, I've seen the damage it's done to me. I've seen the way that it's just not how God intended it outside of marriage. I believe there's something so sacred and special to give yourself to one person. I believe that it's just a protection. I believe it's something that's sacred. Hey, and you can even say like, hey, do you mind if I send you a resource so you can listen to it and check it out and let me know what you think? You're not shoving it down your throat. You're not telling them, well, you should do this, or judging them. You just say, hey, you know, this is what I think, and here's maybe a resource that might be able to help you out, and maybe we can talk about it afterwards. And just tell them that, you know, it's something you've chosen. You believe it's God's design. You believe it's God's protection. And you also believe even if you have messed up or someone else has messed up, that doesn't mean God can't redeem it. It doesn't mean God's judging you. It doesn't mean that you're too far gone or too messy or too dirty or that no guy's going to want you. It just means, all right, we made a mistake. We're going to repent and go the other way and now seek life in God's design and his plan. And so I hope that helps. But thank you guys for submitting those questions. I want to try to answer more of those at the end of every single podcast. So make sure, again, you follow the Happy and Healthy Instagram. So you guys, I feel like I've been talking a million miles per hour. I'm doing really well. I have so much just, you know, hope for the future and so many goals for this year that I'm just trying to do. Again, we will be working on merch, so stay tuned on the Happy and Healthy Instagram, where we will be probably teasing that a little bit. I'm super excited for you guys to get your hands on these. I'm trying to get them out for you guys as soon as possible, but I am letting you know, because of COVID, there are a lot of delays on getting merch and sending out merch, and that was kind of an issue with a lot of the Abide merch in the past, was that. So please be patient with me if you can. I'm literally doing my best. Like, I'm trying so hard to get this out, but stay tuned. We will be teasing that soon and launching that soon. And last but not least, you guys, I love to see when you guys post, excuse me, y'all, this Celsius is dangerous when you're filming a podcast. I love to see whenever you guys are listening to the Happy and Healthy Instagram, or the Happy and Healthy podcast. So on Instagram, I love it when you guys tag me. When you tag Happy and Healthy, we repost every single one on the Happy and Healthy Instagram. I also post a ton on mine as well. So please tag me. I love hearing y'all's thoughts or what you're liking or who else you want to see. All those things. It has been so fun. I'm so happy to be back, you guys. We, again, will be posting these every single Tuesday. Some amazing, fun guests upcoming that you guys are going to love. Like, for example, we have Sadie Robertson coming up, which was one of the most highly requested people on the podcast. So stay tuned. That will be coming up. And last but not least, you guys, if you are enjoying these podcasts, feel free to please leave a review. It helps me out a ton, and I would really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. Check out the YouTube channel. It has been so fun. I'm glad to be back. No more taking 2-month breaks. Well, maybe down the road, I'll try to do maybe a 1-month break instead. But it feels so good to be back and just hanging out with you guys and chilling. So y'all are the best. I love you guys. Until then, stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye, guys.